Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Who Dat Say podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your fellow Who Dat and host, Kevin Reed, and happy Halloween to everybody. And I hope and pray that everybody stays safe during this weekend with all of the festivities that are going on, along with one festivity in particular that will take place this Sunday, November the 2nd at 3:05, well, not Eastern, Central Time, live from Los Angeles, California. We will be witnessing the birth of a new era here in New Orleans. A new potential franchise quarterback will be making his first start for the Who Dat Nation, for the New Orleans Saints, and that is none other than Tyler Shough. He has been knighted as the guy going forward after two horrible games by Spencer Rattler. The one thing Spencer Rattler had to hang his hat on throughout this season was he wasn't contributing to the losses from the Saints. He was taking care of the ball. He wasn't doing anything as far as risk taking and such. But last 2 weeks in particular, it just got to him. The pressure broke that young man, and it was time to make the switch. I think the Saints were going to make the switch anyway this season. I thought maybe after the bye, but after those two games, it was like, you know what, we got to go ahead on and pull the trigger. We gotta run him out here. And look, y'all know how much of a Rattler fan I am. I still hope and pray that he gets an opportunity, if not here somewhere, to show that he is a good quarterback, because I do believe he can be a good quarterback in this league if given the opportunity. But this was the wrong place, wrong time for Spencer Rattler. You know, a new regime. They picked their guy in the draft, and it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen for him here. But this is the Tyler Shough era. This is where the rubber meets the road, not only for Tyler Shough, but for Kellen Moore, because this is your guy. This is who you picked in the draft. You might as well say he was a first-round pick at number 40 early in the second round. This was a guy you had an eye on, you felt could lead this team in the future to be the franchise quarterback. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you can do with this guy at the helm. I still believe in my heart of hearts, and God knows I never wanted to be proven wrong more in my life than I do right now. That is still not going to change anything, because just like with Spencer Rattler, there are no playmakers on this team. There's nobody to help your quarterback. If you had somebody there that was a dynamic playmaker that can turn the game on a dime, on a catch, on a run, or whatever the case may be, then you're working with something. But there's nothing there. All of a sudden, you're going to tell me all of a sudden that Chris Olave is going to start getting yards after the catch, or even catching the ball, period. Speaking of catching the ball, will Juwan Johnson start catching the ball and holding on to the ball? Will all of a sudden Shadid get open, which he couldn't get open before? Will the offensive line start blocking better? Will the run game come together? All of a sudden, because you put Tyler Shough in the game. That's basically what the New Orleans Saints are telling the Who Dat Nation. No, that's not going to change. We're going to get the same results, and it's not fair to Tyler Shough. It wasn't fair to Spencer Rattler. It's not fair to any quarterback you put behind center, because this team is not set up to win. And unfortunately, this is what we're going to have to go through for the next, I'm being kind here, a year or two. And so we'll wait and see. But now, with all that being said, if things do change, to the degree where the Saints are moving the ball, the offensive line will all of a sudden get their act together and start blocking, receivers start catching and scoring, then I'm gonna have questions. I have some serious questions that need answered here. Because what were we doing the first 8 weeks of this season? You know what I'm saying? Now, you can't put all that on one guy. But that's besides the point. I'm not even going down that road. We're moving forward. We're looking ahead. And this week the Saints have the tall task of taking on the LA Rams. The Rams are 5-2 on the season so far. Saints, as you know, are 1-7. And they look to snap this 3-game losing streak that we're currently on. Probably could say 8 though, because it's that win just doesn't feel like it counted to me. You know, if the Giants would have held on to one of those turnovers, not just the 5 that they committed, but if they would have held on to 1, maybe even 2 out of the 5, they beat the Saints. It's not like the Saints went out there and just destroyed the New York Giants. That's not the truth. They look the same even in that win. But we got the win. We'll take it how we can get it at this point. But this will mark the second trip to LA to face the Rams in the last 3 seasons. It's the 4th consecutive game that we had to play our former NFC West rivals in recent seasons. I don't know why we get stuck with them every year. Ever since no call, it feels like we play them every year almost, man. It's sickening. I'm tired of the Rams. I'm sick of the Rams. We played them when we were in the same division. I'm tired of them. You know, I will give the Rams this. The Rams gave us our very first playoff victory in franchise history. That was great, but they also gave us one of our most devastating losses in playoff history. So I guess the trade-off there is even, but I don't understand why we have to keep playing this team, man, especially now. The Rams are quietly one of those sleeper teams who are just hanging around there. They're 5-2 and nobody's talking about them. They're well coached. They have a lot of talent all over the field. And frankly, that whole division, man, I think this is our last game in the West because we played Arizona 49. Yeah, we played the whole division and we got walloped by all of them. But this is truly one of the better divisions in football. You take away Arizona, and I know Arizona beat us, but that's not a tough task. But the other 3 teams in that division are playoff caliber teams. 49ers, even with all of the injuries, even though it seems like it's starting to catch up to them right now, but they are still a playoff contender. Seattle is a playoff contender, and of course the Rams. And so that's just a tough division, and it's been that way for years. Just a quick look at the NFC South this weekend. You know, we play the Rams, Atlanta, who is 3-4 on the season, and that is very disappointing for Atlanta. And I'm not saying that out of sympathy for them. I'm just saying it is surprising. I thought they would have been better this year, and they're not. I think they traveled to New England to play the Patriots, who are once again quietly 6-2. Yes, the New England Patriots are 6-2 this season. You saw what they did to us earlier this year, but they are doing it to everybody. So they are here. Carolina, they play the Green Bay Packers this week. So far this season, Carolina is 4-4, which is also a shock. I didn't think they were going to be that. I thought they were going to be dead last in this division, but hey, look how that turned out. If you would have told me Carolina would be 500 at this point of the season and the Saints will only have won 1 game so far this season, I probably would have fought. We probably would have went to blows because how would you come to me and just spew hatred like that in my face, only for it to come to fruition? This is crazy. Green Bay is 5-1-1 so far this season. They look like typical Green Bay, they just chug along. They just do their thing and stay around to the end and make an impact. Tampa is on a bye this week. Uh, you might could say they was on a bye last week in that scrimmage game that they played against us, so they get a 2-week break. But yeah, they are on a bye this week. I think we play them after or 2 weeks from now or something like that. I forgot how it go, but yeah, they're in good shape. They are still on top of the division as of now. The league rankings so far through 8 weeks of the season. Of course, the record for the Saints are 1-7. Rams are 5-2. Scoring average, Saints are 29th in the lead, close to last. The Rams, they're 11th in the lead in scoring average. Opponent scoring average, Saints 24th. The Rams, third. They only allow 16.7 points a game. And that's about right for us. That's about as much as we score. Actually, that is what we score. We average 16 per game. And hey, we might can get the 0.7. Who knows? Maybe they're feeling generous today or Sunday. But my God, we're in trouble. Total offense, the Saints are 27th in the lead. The Rams are 6th in the lead in total offense. And that doesn't bode well for our 15th ranked defense. And the Rams have the 13th ranked defense. Turnover margin, the Saints at one point were top 5 in turnover margin. We finally fell into the negative. We are -2 in turnovers. We're 19th, whereas the Los Angeles Rams are +3. They are ranked 10th in the league. Let's go through the season leaders, starting with passing. Leading passer for the New Orleans Saints, of course, is Spencer Rattler. 174 completions to 256 attempts, 1,586 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. All 5 came within the last 2 weeks. This will be his statistic for the remainder of the year. So mark that down as his season total, unless something catastrophic happens, God forbid. But for the Rams, Matthew Stafford, baby, 160 for 242, 1,866 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions this season. Let me just say, I have a whole lot of respect for Matthew Stafford. I've been a fan of Matthew Stafford going back to the Detroit days. I think it was his first or second year in Detroit. He was it could have been a Thursday game, and he was out there, and a Thanksgiving game to be exact. He was out there and he got hurt on the plate, and they were losing the game. He got hurt, shoulder, and he stayed in there, down by 7, threw the touchdown. It went for 2. He went up the field, told people, don't touch him, don't touch me, because it was his left shoulder, and he's like, don't touch me. Stayed in, got in the huddle, and still threw the 2-point conversion pass to score and win the game. All respect to him. All respect to him. In a time when in this league you have players who stump their toe and they're out for 6 weeks, I got nothing but respect for a quarterback to be that tough and win the game, in dramatic fashion. Always had respect for him. Enjoy watching him play. Very, very dynamic player. Yeah, man, I'm just a big fan of Matthew Stafford. I'm happy he's successful. over there in LA. Had the opportunity to win a Super Bowl over there because it wasn't going to happen in Detroit. So he finally moved on in that trade and got him a Super Bowl win. So good on him. I hope he doesn't play that good Sunday, but yeah, I doubt it. Moving on to the rushing yard leader for the Saints, of course, is Alvin Kamara. 100 carries exactly for 363 yards and 1 touchdown. For the LA Rams, it is Kyron Williams with 107 carries, 472 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Leading receiver for both teams, Chris Olave for the Saints, 52 not carries, but 52 catches for 503 yards and 3 touchdowns. Puka Nacua for the Rams, 54 catches, 616 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Leading sack getter. This is a very telling stat here. This goes to show you what we look at as being awesome here in the Who Dat Nation and how minuscule it is throughout the rest of the league. Carl Granderson having an awesome season. At least he was early on. Not right now, for the past couple of weeks, he's been kind of quiet, but he came out on fire. He still leads the team with sacks, 4.5 sacks, and we're thinking he's having an awesome year, right? Well, Byron Young, the linebacker for the Rams, he says, hold my beer, because he has 9. He has literally twice as many sacks as Carl Granderson, and he's a linebacker. And nobody talks about him. But it just goes to show you how we hold I ain't gonna say minuscule numbers up to a high degree here in New Orleans, because that's all we focus on. A lot of the Who Dat Nation focus on. Me personally, I watch all football. I pay attention to close to everybody, at least as much as I can. And so I can see that. But a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation, they only pay attention to the Who Dat. They only pay attention to the Saints. And they're like, oh man, Carl Granderson, he's phenomenal. It's a Pro Bowl year. No. no. Now, if he was to come out and continue to put up numbers week in and week out like he was in the first couple of weeks of the season, yeah. But as you can see, he kind of disappeared, especially when Chase Young came back. He kind of disappeared off of the team. But I just thought that was crazy that's our leading sack getter with 4.5, and the Rams leading the sack getter has 9. Leading the team in tackles is, of course, Demario Davis with 71 tackles, and Nate Landman, linebacker for the Rams, he has 67 tackles. Injury report for Sunday's matchup against the Rams. Saints have 3 players who are questionable for Sunday's matchup. The good news is we don't have any players designated as out or doubtful, but we do have some questionables, and that those 3 players are cornerback Alante Taylor with a shoulder, Rashid Shaheed, wide receiver with a hip, and Alvin Kamara with an ankle. They have been designated as questionable. I don't see them not playing, but they may be on a snap count for Sunday's game. We'll see how severe those injuries really are in regards to this Sunday's matchup. For the Rams, they only have 1 player as doubtful, and that is Darius Williams, their cornerback, with a shoulder injury. Aside from that, everybody else is relatively healthy for the Rams. The keys to victory, and I say that loosely, for this game is you're going to look at the Saints defense versus the Rams offense. I know all eyes are going to be on Tyler Shough, but realistically, it's going to be the Saints defense versus the Rams offense. The Saints are projected to be, I think, 15-point underdogs or 14.5, something like that, underdogs going into this game, and that's kind. That is very kind. Um, Considering there's a quarterback change on the road, a team that just cannot score more than 17 points a game. I don't. And then on the other side of the ball, you have pretty dynamic Rams offense, pretty high powered at that. So I don't know where that 14.5 is coming from, but maybe Vegas knows something I don't know. But in any event, the New Orleans Saints defense with Brandon Staley as the not cornerback. Maybe he needs to go out there and play cornerback, but as the coordinator, and maybe that's the key. Maybe that's what they're looking at because he was the coordinator over there a few years ago. So maybe he knows the team or whatever, knows a little in and outs of Sean McVay's offense, being as though he practiced against them and knows that system fairly well. But even with that, I still don't see it. But this team will have to take something away from the Rams. I don't know if it's going to be Matthew Stafford. I don't know if it's going to be Kyron Williams. I don't know what it is, but they need to pick a lane and stick with it. They need to take something away. Me personally, if I was running the defense, I'm taking away Matthew Stafford because if you take away the run game, Matthew Stafford is seasoned enough, well versed enough to dissect this defense, and so I wouldn't do that. That's the wrong poison to pick. Take Matthew Stafford out, take away his passing lanes, take away his weapons. Force them to run the ball. Caleb Williams, or not Caleb, Kyron Williams, he's a decent running back, but he isn't a top tier, in my humble opinion, running back that can just run the air out of the football, 200 yards rushing, and all this other foolishness. I don't see that. But we're talking about the Saints. This is a team that will very well do things against the norm and find a way to lose or find new inventive ways that teams have never won a game, find a way to win it against the Saints. And look at Chicago. Chicago Bears defense, when we played them, they look like 85 Bears. I thought I was looking at Ron Rivera and Mike Singletary. I thought that was the 85 Bears defense that was playing the New Orleans Saints when we played a couple of weeks ago. And they haven't looked that way since. They look horrible since then. They look like pure garbage. But they look great against us. But I'm going way off. I apologize. I'm going way off the beaten path here. But anyways, the key to this victory is pretty simple. The Saints defense is definitely going to have to step up because we all know it's a cliche, but it's the truth. The best friend for a rookie quarterback, for a new quarterback, is a run game, good defense. Run game, good defense. And if neither of those two things are working this Sunday or even going forward into the future, Tyler Shough is in for the ride of his life. It's going to be grand opening, grand closing for that young man. And so we need to help him out. Defense needs to help him out. And I don't know if this is the game. This is the one. I'm just confused by the move this week. I would have waited. I wouldn't have sent him out there against this Rams team. But I guess, hey, trial by fire. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. But I'm not I don't know, man. I just don't know. I don't feel right about this game. But I'm not picking no winner or loser. I'll pick them. The Rams going to win. But I cannot pick the Saints, man. I cannot pick the Saints. Until Kellen Moore shows me he's a competent coach. I just cannot pick him. And I know this is a New Orleans Saints podcast. I get all that. And I am a super diehard New Orleans Saints fan. But I'm also a man based in reality. I got to look at the facts here. And the facts are showing me that the New Orleans Saints will not win this game. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that they shock the world. Eventually, something's got to break here. Eventually, we got to get a win here, huh? Will it be this week? I don't know, but I would love to know, what do you think? Do you think Tyler Shough is that spark that this team needs to get things changed? I would love to know your thoughts about this quarterback change. What do you think will change as far as the team going forward with this move? And what do you think will be the outcome of this Sunday's matchup against the Rams? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Who Dat Say podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this preview of the Week 9 matchup against the L.A. Rams. Don't forget, we'll be back after that game to recap, hopefully, a Saints victory. We'll see. Until then, I'm going to be screaming to the top of my lungs, who dat?